Okay, now for today, everyone, first of all, I hope everybody is doing well. Yeah, I hope all of you are doing well and progressing well with the assignment. Okay, now for today, we will discuss chapter 6, which is the internal audit. Yeah, so as usual, I do not intend to keep you for far too long. I will just go over the important points in the chapter. Yeah, and also to mention that this chapter is significant or important because you'll be meeting this again in your second assignment. All right, so this is an important a very important chapter to look into or to really read or understand. Yeah. Okay. If it's, I'm gonna go over and later on you'll have some question and answer. We'll have the question and answer session. So at some point, if you're not able to hear me or the recording or this session is a little bit distorted, you need to let me know. All right, just unmute your mic and just tell me. Okay, now chapter 6 is the internal audit. Sometimes it's also called the internal analysis, internal assessment. Either way, these are the same thing. Now, this chapter offers an overview, yeah, of the key materials for those majoring in management, actually. But of course, this is also equally beneficial to those who are not in management. I mean, we're talking about academic per se. Yeah, those who are majoring in management. Okay, normally they would look into these processes. But again, like I said, anybody could benefit from this. Now, chapter 6, it focuses on identifying and evaluating a firm's strength and weaknesses. Yeah. Internal audit is about identifying, evaluating a firm's strength and weaknesses in the functional areas of business. So, any functional areas that the organization may have. This includes management,
Excuse me,
marketing.
madam.
Yes.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. We can't see your slide actually.
Oh,
Are you
okay. Oh,
filling the slide?
oh no, no. Okay, so
Okay.
sorry.
Sorry,
Okay,
sorry. All right. Thank
yeah,
you.
it's okay. Thank you for that.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Um, okay, now the slides is still, I'm still in here, so sorry. Okay, I will move the slides a bit later, but I just want to talk. This is just an introduction of the internal audit. All right. Like what I was saying is that this internal audit focuses on the evaluation and identifying of firms' strength and weaknesses, right? Including management, marketing, finance, production, R&D, and so forth. All right. So this is very important. Actually, it examines the overall internal environment. Assessing its resources, assets, characteristics, competencies, and all other related activities. So this, in a way, helps the management during decision making, strategy formulation, and also in executing processes. Yeah. Okay, now going to the first slide. Okay, now this is just to recap. Okay, we are right here. We are right here performing internal audit. Okay, I think this chapter, this is taken from a different what is this? Edition. All right, but either way, we are here performing internal audit. All right. Now for this chapter, these are the learning objectives. So as you read your chapter, okay, this chapter, you would pay attention to all these learning objectives. Yeah. So by the end of your reading, all right, you should ideally be able to understand all these, describing the organization's internal assessment, what basically it is, discussing the importance of organizational culture in strategy formulation, the basic functions that make up management, and what's the relevance to strategic formulation. Um, Discussing the scaling checklist or auditing, okay, and value chain analysis as well, being able to explain what it is and what is the relevance of this to formulating strategies. And the last one is the IFE matrix, or internal factor evaluation. So what is internal factor evaluation, how to develop it, and what is the purpose of this, all right? So these are the content of chapter 6. So I will go briefly, okay, on all these objectives. All right. Now the first one in here is describing the organization's internal assessment. Yeah, internal assessment. So now when we describe the organizational internal assessments, we look into three things, yeah, resources, capabilities, and distinctive competencies. All right. So now resources basically are the accumulated capital, yeah, both financial and non-financial. Okay, and these actually are the what they call this capitals that the company has at its disposal, which can be taken advantage of, it can be increased and so forth. So these assets are both tangible and intangible, right? Okay, so this includes like working capital, or availability of investment finance or credit worthiness, these kind of things. So now this this type of capabilities, right? It cannot be originate from one single effort. It has to be a collaboration between all those functions in management that I have mentioned earlier on. The second one, capabilities. Organizational capabilities are the intangible strategic assets that organization takes to get work done, right? In executing the business strategy or to satisfy customers. So examples of these OC, organizational capabilities, are like inspiring leadership, simply leadership in the organization. Okay, the how efficient the agility and speed, okay, of the functions or processes gets done. Customer focus, how attentive we are, the organization is in terms of demand of customers, probably the demand and supply, and how innovative as well. All right, these are what is meant by capabilities. Now the next one here is the distinctive competency. Of course, every organization, right, it wants to have I mean, it exists actually to have a distinctive competency or competencies. So distinctive competency here, we are talking about the firm's strengths that cannot be matched. It can be easily matched, yeah, or it cannot be imitated by competitors. So this is why I think businesses, right, organization exist in the first place. They want to be in a business and they want to be different from their competitors so that they can survive. Yeah. So now building this competitive advantage, to be different from the other competitor, that is competitive advantage. So to build competitive advantage, yeah, it involves taking advantage of the distinctive competencies, taking advantage of the strength that cannot be easily matched, that's so unique to the organization. So the right mix of organizational capabilities helps business actually to operate effectively. So it's not, like I said, it's not a single thing to be done by one party or one entity in the organization only. It's a right mix of organizational capabilities, because this way, right, it helps the businesses to operate effectively, and to deliver excellent service, and of course satisfaction to their customers. All right. Now, what is the purpose of having a distinctive competency, of course, like I said, is to to be ahead of the competitors, right? Um, in addition to that, people respect organization with a distinctive competency. They feel like Apple, and they have. Why do you buy Apple laptop? Yeah, because probably it has a very unique features, right? It cannot be imitated by other competitors, right? Same thing like same thing with organizations like Starbucks, Disney, for example. They are actually respected because of their capabilities, not exactly because of the structures, but capabilities. Their what is this? Their distinctive knack for innovation. Yeah, if you can, I'm sure all of you can relate this to Apple computers, or just Apple, right? The innovation, and also their willingness to adapt to customers' changing needs. Okay, every time you see, oh, there's a new product for Apple on the market, that's because they looked into the customers' changing needs. Yeah. Okay. Now moving on to the next slide. Now, in order to be different, right, or to achieve the competitive advantage, organizations really need to look at these three things: resource, business model, and the other one is value chain. Okay, these are the three things that businesses would look into. Like I just mentioned, resource are the accumulated capital, both financial and non-financial, that the company has at its disposal. Yeah. So the organization would be concerned about their methodology, okay, how they use their resources appropriately to achieve the competitive advantage. This is the concern when it comes to resources. How can the organization make full use of good use of their resources to achieve competitive advantage? So simply questions like, are their strategies good enough to withstand the stiff competition out there? Yeah, that's one of the question. Now, business model. Um, for this one, we can actually go back to our discussion on mission statement, right? Remember last week we talked about mission statement. The concern of organization related to this is the ability to determine who are who actually are the customers, who actually are the customers, and what are they providing for them. Yeah, what are they providing for them? Also, from which section of the business makes profit, and how it can be further capitalized. Yeah, so this is about the business model. So looking at the business model, we have a this the 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 customers who we serve, and we have the products, what it provides, and how can we look at this business model again, and then see which section of this business makes profit, and how can we take advantage of this. Yeah. Okay, now the next one is the value chain analysis, or VCA. Okay, now value chain, it says it aims to identify where low cost advantage or disadvantage exists anywhere along the value chain, from raw material to customer service activities. Yeah. So now just briefly, value chain is a way to identify which of the primary or supportive activities of the organization adds value. Yeah, adds value, and whether it can be capitalized or not. Yeah, this is value chain. It represents the internal activities, every internal activities that a firm engage. Yeah, when transforming inputs into outputs. Okay, from raw material to finally to customer service activities. All right. So at the end of the day, a firm is able to identify, analyze these activities so that one, cost can be reduced. Second, there would be an increased in productive, there would be an increased product differentiation. Yeah, it's not the same. They will be unique in a way. All right. So these are the see, these are the three things. Okay, these are the three elements that to look at. Okay, when achieving the when organization tries to achieve the competitive advantage, resource, the business model, and the value chain. Okay, now moving quickly to the next slide. Now, the next slide is the discussion on the organizational culture. Okay, and how actually it relates to strategy formulation. We have actually also discussed this briefly last week. Yeah, we talked about I think we when we talk about vision, mission, and objective, we talk about the uh, organizational culture briefly. And also, we have learned this from your OB, remember a long time ago, or from your introduction of management course, yeah. So I'm gonna skip the definitions, yeah, because you already know what it is. So I will skip the definition, but focus more on the relationship. Okay, what is the relationship between this organizational culture and strategy formulation? So now what is important to note here is that organization culture can significantly impact the planning activities. Okay, whatever plans that's laid out in the organizational culture can influence this. So it can strongly affect the ability of the company to shift its strategic direction. Okay, when it comes to decision making, okay, the company, the organization needs to look back, okay, at the organizational culture. You know very well, organizational culture involves employees most of all, yeah, because now it impacts because it has a powerful influence on the behavior of all employees. Organizational culture itself has a powerful influence on the employees, and I'm sure you agree with me that employees are the backbone of a company. Yeah, if there is no employees, there is no company. Okay, so what is the relationship between culture and strategy anyway? Okay, so relationship between this culture, and the formulation of strategy. Now, first and foremost, the culture in an organization, right? It sets expectation for how people behave and work together. Remember in your OB class, it sets expectation how would people behave and work together, and how well they function as a team. Yeah. So in this way, culture can, in this way, now culture can either break the boundaries, okay, by doing that, setting expectation. It can break the boundaries between teams. Yeah. The barriers, I should say. It guides decision making, and it improves the overall workflow in the organization. Yeah. So this is how we relate this culture and strategy. Yeah. So okay. So strategy sets the direction and focus. It elaborates plans, formal environment for employees to understand the organization. Right. So this is what strategy does. It sets direction and focus. Now, culture helps accomplish goals by simply encompassing goals in the organizational shared values and beliefs. Okay, this is organizational culture. So in a way, it's like a marriage between goals, okay, of the organization and organizational culture. Yeah. So here, the management actually utilizes the cultural strength of the organization, such as strong work ethics. Yeah, strong work ethics, their strong culture to develop their strategies. Okay, so this is about the relationship of uh, organizational culture and strategy, and the importance of it in organization. Yeah. Now, This is the next slide actually is the definition. So like I said, I'm not going to go over this. They are examples of aspects of an organizational culture that is found in the main textbook, yeah, in page 183. And also, I'm gonna skip this. This is actually the elements of organizational culture, artifacts, places, institution, and art forms, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna skip this one. This is the elements of organizational culture. And now coming to this one, the basic functions that make up management and their relevance in strategy formulation. Excuse me. Okay, excuse me on that, yeah. Now, continuing from here, this is the basic functions that I'm sure all of you are familiar with as well. Okay, it's studied in your introduction of management, I think. So not going into details in each and every one of the elements, but just stressing on the importance of these basic functions of planning, organizing, and so forth in strategy formulation. Now, in doing this, let me just take out one of the functions, which is the motivating. Yeah. So motivating, what comes into this, what comes in here, includes here is the leadership, communication, work groups, behavior, modification, and so forth. So motivating has everything to do with leadership. Okay, it has to do with leadership. Perhaps it's probably easier if you ask questions or seek answers for questions like, how are businesses successful? Yeah, how are business successful? So probably one would start thinking like, oh, looking at the who are in the management, who is the CEO, who is the manager? Yeah, okay. What lies at the core of efficient and productive workforce? What makes an efficient and productive workforce? So again, this kind of question, we would tend to go back to, okay, what are people in the organization, right? How are they doing things in the organization? Another question that we can ask is, why do employees do what they're asked to do? When employees cannot identify right with what they're doing, do you think they would go on doing what they're doing, right? If they would probably go on, but it would be like they have to do it, yeah. So questions like, why do employees do what they're asked to do? Probably they feel connected to the organization, they're motivated and things like that. So these uh, um, pertinent questions that need to be answered, when we ask like, okay, what is going on in this organization? Yeah, why is this the basic function, really basic function working in there? So many people can and may have one single answer for all these questions, but oftentimes many would end up with the answer motivation. Okay, come up with the motivation, the keyword motivation, as part of the answer. Okay, what motivates employees to do what they asked to do? Okay, what motivates employees to be efficient and productive in their job? Okay, so now mainly motivation is the because probably the employees, yeah, they're motivated to act or move forward because of leadership, for example. They like the way the organization functions, the way they are managed, yeah. So so the process of motivation in here, the function of motivation is very important role in any organization, whether it's a profit or non-profit organization. Yeah, it creates the desire to work in the direction determined by the manager. So of course, the bottom line is increased productivity. I know they become very loyal to the organization. Yeah. So those are just to mention some of the outcomes, yeah, increased productivity, loyalty, and efficiency, and whatnot. Okay, so okay, I'm gonna close this and move to the next slide. Excuse me. The next slides, yeah, the next few slides, there are a lot of questions. Next few slides, I hope you have seen this these slides. You have read these slides already. It was uploaded on Smart 3. But now the next slides are related to auditing or scanning checklist. Yeah, scanning checklist. The purpose of this is to help determine the specific strength and weaknesses of the organization. Okay, so the questions. So questions, each how do you say, each function in the organization would have their specific list of questions. Yeah, for example, management would be asking these sets of questions. Does a firm use strategic management concepts? What kind of concepts are they using? Do managers do managers delegate authority well? This has to do with the leadership, right? So now each this is management, and marketing would have a different set of question, and finance would have the different set of questions, and so forth. All right, so depending on the organization that you have in the functions that you have in the organization, yeah, so they would come up with your list of questions. Now, what is the importance of this checklist or list of questions anyway? So now what this basically saying is that any no answer no to any of these questions indicates would indicate a potential weakness. Yeah, and a yes would suggest a potential area for strength. Okay, so very simply put, a yes, potential areas of strength, and no is an indication of potential weakness. So imagine, each of these function in the organization would have lists of questions. It's not confined to just 9. It's not confined to just 10. It depends how they want it. Yeah, they could have as many questions as possible, right? So so the more questions, the more questions, the better, because it could provide clarity for direction and also decision making. They would have, managers would be able to make better decision because, they have reflected, they have questions, they have answered these questions from not only one person, but what is this? It is a participation from the rest of the team in the organization. So it provides clarity for direction and decision making. Okay, so I'm gonna skip all these questions. Okay, you can actually add if you want to. Okay, there are many more. So I'm gonna skip all those questions, and the next one that I will discuss is the VCA and IOFM. VCA is the value chain analysis. IOFM is the internal organizational factor matrix. All right. So these are tools to internally analyze an organization. Okay, there are many other tools actually, but these are tools that we're focusing on in this subject. Okay, VCA and IOFM. To begin with, there are others later on. We talk about EFE, we talk about SWOT, but we will discuss these two first. So internal value chain analysis. Um, like I mentioned earlier, value chain analysis is a strategy tool used to analyze internal firm activities. Yeah. The goal is to recognize which activity are the most valuable, okay, the most valuable, okay, to the firm, and which ones could be improved to provide competitive advantage. That's the basic goal of VCA, or value chain analysis. Okay, so in other words, yeah, by looking into internal activities, the analysis reveals where a firm's competitive advantage and disadvantage are. We can clearly see, yeah, by looking at the internal activities of the organization. So what happens here is that the firm that competes through differentiation advantage, okay, by being unique, right? And they will try to perform its activities better than competitors would do. So at the end of the day, after looking through the internal activities, having the knowledge that, okay, we do well in this area and not so well in this area. So they would go ahead and devise strategies. Yeah. So of course, this is to be unique and to be better than competitors. So okay, so this is basically what VCA is. The next one is the internal organizational factor matrix, or sometimes we can simply call this IFE or internal factor evaluation. Okay, now what IFE? Okay. Okay, now what IFE is is also a strategy tool. Okay, and it's also to evaluate firms' internal environment and basically to reveal the strength and weaknesses of the organization. So when looking for the strength, asking questions like, what do we do better or have more valuable than competitors? So basically, this is what we do as opposed to what competitors are doing. Yeah, in a way, it's a benchmarking. So in case of the weakness, as the case of the weaknesses, questions like which area of the company could be improved and can be catch up with, yeah. And of course, this is as opposed to competitors, always as opposed to competitors. So this is IFE. Simply, it is a tool to evaluate the firm's internal environment. Yeah, similar goal as the VCA actually, looking at the strength and weaknesses. Now for for IFE, yeah, general rule to identify key issues. No, not key issue, key factors, key internal factors. Normally, managers look at identifying 10 to 20 internal factors, yeah, 10 to 20 internal factors, or organizations or managers can identify as many as they like. Actually, the more the better. Like I said, it provides clarity for future direction. Yeah, but the key here is to identify at least 10 or 20 key internal factors in terms of strength and weaknesses. Now, for this IFE, we have actually uploaded a video on Smart 3. Yeah, it provides a guideline in understanding how to come up with this IFE matrix. Yeah, so I hope you will. If you have not, you will watch that video. It provides a basic, step-by-step guideline. How do you come up with an IFE matrix? Now, having said that, IFE matrix is one of the requirements that this is just ahead, telling you ahead, yeah. One of the requirements of assignment 2, yeah, you being able to come up with the IFE matrix. Okay, and of course, this chapter 6 is a chapter that you'd have to understand, read through, right? Okay, now you're coming we're coming to the end of this excuse me. Few- okay. As I was saying, we're coming to the end of this discussion today. Now, if you go to your main textbook, okay, I'm not sure. I think in the the ebook also, okay, it's the this case is there, is the Apple case study. So just an exercise to be familiarized or to be familiar with the IFE. Yeah, how do you come up with IFE and things like that? So you can find the Apple case study. Okay, you conduct the ratio analysis of Apple. You conduct the IFE matrix of Apple. Yeah, just to get a head start. All right, it's not compulsory. If you want to, you can do it. If not, it's fine. You know, it's it's just recommended. Now, conducting the financial ratio analysis. I think I may have missed this, right? Let me go back. Oh, okay, it's right here. Okay, this is the, I missed this one. All right. But this is also the key part of the key questions. Okay, but this is like providing the solution. Okay, the key financial ratios, right? One way to assess the financial health of the organization. This is part of the strategic management strategy formulation. Is comparing the financial ratios from the balance sheet and income statement. So when it comes to this, these are the ratios that normally is looked into: liquidity, leverage, activity, profitability, and growth ratios, right? So again, in the textbook, there are formulas that are presented there, so you can just go and plug that the figures in as you read the Apple case, right? Just to try out. Yeah, but these are the ratios. So that is uh, that is taken into consideration when it comes to assessing the financial health of the organization. Okay, now let me go back to the earlier part, which is this one, objective. Okay, like I said, like I said, in order for to guide your reading of chapter 6, okay, this chapter or any chapter, you always have to go back to the learning objectives. Now, these are the 6 learning objectives of chapter 6. Okay, you when you read your chapter 6, make sure you're able to answer these objectives. Yeah, you're able to describe the organization's internal assessment, the importance of OC in strategy formulation, identify the basic functions that make up the management and how is it relevant to strategy formulation, the audit and scanning checklist, VCA, and IFE. All right. Now, every organization is different. I think I have mentioned this before. Every organization is different, and they certain organization would have their own internal assessment. Okay, certain organization would have their own organizational culture. Therefore, strategy would be different, right? Okay, they would certain organization would adopt a different methodology in terms of analyzing their internal capabilities or even external capabilities in formulating strategies, right? Some may adopt IFE, EFE, some may adopt different things. Okay, but the important thing is to recognize that each organization, they are different, just like us, we are different, right? They are recognizing that they are different because I think this is very important because if you're not able to recognize that um, our organization is different, it's kind of difficult to look at the niche, isn't it? And if you can't see the niche, then it's kind of do the formulation of the strategies in order to be competitive. Yeah, just what I think, right? Okay, now So so this is it for today's discussion. Now next week we will talk about the EFE, yeah, external environment of the organization or the external factor evaluation, right? Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing and open this for discussion or for asking questions. Okay, everybody, did you all see the slides or was I? Mm. Okay, is any question, everyone?